Okay, so get this. We're going to airstrip one today. No, you don't need to pack your bags or anything.
Haha, straight to room 101 then.
Well, hopefully not. But speaking of dystopian travel destinations, Big Brother's watching, you guys know what I'm getting at. George Orwell, 1984. And before you think this is just another high school book report, think again, because we are going deep on this one.
Deep is right. You've really outdone yourself with the source material this time.
Well, you know me. Got to bring my A game, especially when it's a listener request. Okay, so we've got excerpts from 1984, obviously, but then, hold on to your hats, we've also got some academic analysis from 84report.pdf. Catchy, right? And to top it all off, a Brookings Institution report on AI surveillance tech, exporting the surveillance state. Seriously.
Yeah, you weren't kidding about going deep. It's amazing, though, isn't it? Like, Orwell practically wrote the user manual for the 21st century. Orwellian is a tagline now.
Totally. I mean, how many times have we heard Big Brother in the last, week? But here's the thing I find really interesting. This 84report.pdf thing, it's got all these different interpretations of 1984 from over the years, and it's wild how much it reflects what people were freaking out about at the time. Talk about a chameleon book.
It is, and it proves his point in a way, doesn't it? If truth is so malleable that the interpretation of your book changes over time. Anyway, what I think is interesting is how those interpretations have evolved. Like, you read those early reviews right after 1984 came out.
Oh, you mean back when Stalin was still kicking around?
Exactly. Back then, it was all Big Brother, obviously Stalin, case closed.
Can you imagine a book review today being that direct about, any world leader, the lawsuits alone? But anyway, I do wonder, does that mean things are less Orwellian now or just sneakier?
Right. And that's kind of the point of the book, isn't it? It's not about some crystal ball prediction. It's about systems, how power actually works, how control happens. Oceania.
Yeah.
It's everywhere and nowhere.
True, true. Constant surveillance. Big Brother is watching you, plastered on every screen. And don't even get me started on the thought police. It's funny, in a terrifying kind of way, how much of that we just accept now.
Well, that's what we're here to unpack, right? How much of it IS in our heads?
Exactly. Although, honestly, some of the stuff in the book, it's take that whole 2 minutes 8 thing. The way Orwell describes that mob mentality, how quickly everyone gets swept up in that frenzy of anger, it's more than a little unsettling and weirdly familiar,
Oh, absolutely. And what's even more disturbing is that it's not just about controlling information, it's about controlling the language we use to even think about that information. You know that 84report.pdf you mentioned? There's this analysis in there from 1984, no less.
Wait, really? The same year the book is set?
Yep. And the author compares 1984 to, get this, the Iran-Contra hearings.
Well, hold up. You're telling me someone saw Big Brother hanging out in the U.S. government back in the actual year 1984?
That's exactly what they're saying.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I get it. The whole power corrupts thing is universal. But there's something about the way Orwell describes it, it's not just about bad guys doing bad stuff. It's like he's dissecting the machinery of oppression.
Exactly. It's a system. And one of the most effective tools in that system is what he calls doublethink. Holding two contradictory beliefs in your mind at the same time and accepting both as true.
Oh, man, doublethink. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that keeps you up at night. Especially that bit where Winston finds proof that the party literally fabricated a historical event. He's got the evidence right there, and then boom, down the memory hole it goes. Gone. Like it never even happened.
And that's the genius, right? It's not enough to just control the present. You have to control the past, too. Rewrite history. Make it impossible to even imagine an alternative. Which, okay, maybe back in Orwell's day, that seemed far-fetched.
Yeah.
But now, with the internet, deepfakes, all the misinformation flying around.
Exactly. It's like Orwell predicted the internet age. Or maybe the internet age just made 1984 a reality show. Either way, it's a bit unnerving.
Just a tad. Makes you wonder if Big Brother today wouldn't be a government at all, but a tech giant. Or an algorithm. Or some creepy combination of both.
Right. I mean, think about it. They've got the data, they've got the technology, and they've definitely got the incentive to shape our perceptions, influence our behavior.
It's enough to make you want to go off the grid, live in a cabin in the woods.
And even then, they'd probably find a way to put a telescreen in your outhouse.
Oh, for sure. But, okay, before we spiral into total despair here, let's talk about that other report you mentioned. The exporting the surveillance state one. Over 136 countries using AI-powered surveillance tech.
Seriously?
Yep, seriously. And it's not just like security cameras anymore. We're talking Facial recognition, predictive policing, emotion AI, the works.
Emotion AI, hold up, they can tell what you're feeling by looking at your face now.
Or at least that's the goal. And some companies, particularly in China, are getting pretty good at it,
Oh.
which, well, let's just say it's giving me some serious thought police vibes.
No kidding, especially after that whole rat torture thing in the book. Ugh, talk about messing with someone's head. Right. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about how control isn't just about physical force. It's about psychological manipulation, getting inside your head, making you doubt your own perceptions, your own sanity.
It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why I want to hear from you guys, our amazing listeners. What aspect of 1984 freaks you out the most, given what we're dealing with today?
Yeah.
Seriously, take a second, think about it. Because this isn't just some abstract dystopian fiction, right? This is about understanding the world we're living in right now.
Exactly. And the more we understand these mechanisms, the better equipped we are to resist them.
Couldn't agree more. But, you know, even in that bleak world that Orwell created, there were these glimmers of hope, right?
Yeah.
Like, take the proles, for example. They're living their lives working, loving, singing. It's like they're almost immune to the party's control.
Yeah, and for a while there, Winston really clings to this idea that the proles hold the key to rebellion, that they represent this raw, uncorrupted human spirit.
And you can kind of see why he'd think that. I mean, if anyone's going to lead a revolution, it's not going to be the intellectuals, right? It's going to be the people.
Right. But I think if we dig a little deeper into 84report.pdf, we find a different perspective.
Okay, so not exactly proles to the barricades then.
Not quite, no. This analysis I was talking about suggests that looking for any one group to save us kind of misses the point. It's more about, I don't know, maybe it's on each of us, like recognizing how insidious power is, no matter who's got it, and then, I don't know, actively resisting it in our own small ways, you know.
So it's less about a mass uprising and more about what? Like each of us being our own Winston, clinging to our own version of the truth even when the world's trying to gaslight us.
Exactly. Which, and this is kind of a messed up thought, is maybe why 1984 itself got used as propaganda during the Cold War.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah. Both sides were waving it around like, see, this is what those guys are like,
Yeah.
which is just...
Peak irony.
Yeah.
Because then the book about fighting thought control becomes a tool for thought control.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing we have to remember, right? The fight for truth, for freedom, it's never really over. Like, we can't ever just assume someone else is going to take care of it.
So where does that leave us? I mean, we've got AI surveillance tech spreading faster than a conspiracy theory on social media. We've got information overload, misinformation, disinformation. Like, is there even any point in fighting back at this point?
See, I think that's the question Orwell is throwing down, right? And it's interesting because, yeah, the book ends with Winston's broken. He loved Big Brother. But I don't know. I feel like throughout the book, there are these little sparks, these acts of defiance, these whispers of something else. Like the spirit's not totally crushed.
But you're saying the ending's not written yet.
Yeah.
That it's on us to decide how this story plays out.
Exactly. And that's the thing about 1984 that I find, I don't know, strangely hopeful. It's a warning for sure, but it's also a call to action. Like, even when things seem really bleak, the human spirit, this desire for truth, for freedom, it finds a way.
So what's our call to action then? What's our version of joining the resistance?
Honestly, I think it starts with the small stuff, having those tough conversations, questioning the narratives we're being fed, maybe just saying, no, I don't buy it.
Or maybe it's about taking a break, logging off,
Yeah.
putting down the phone,
Right.
remembering what it feels like to just connect with other humans.
Exactly. Because in the end, the most powerful weapon against any kind of control, any manipulation, is our own awareness.
Yeah.
It's our ability to think critically, to question, to refuse to be silenced.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, that's the question I'll leave you with. In a world where Big Brother is no longer just a fictional boogeyman, what will your act of rebellion be? Think about it.
And even better, do something about it.